let's find out what happens. Which player will remain undefeated? I'm going to send it on over to Marshall and Paul.
Thank you, Muriel. Welcome back to the booth here at Pro Tour Final Fantasy. Marshall Sutcliffe with Paul Cheon. And, well, they set it up beautifully there at the news desk. Shota Yasooka with Is It. We get to kind of showcase the key matchups in this metagame here as we have Yann Chouinard on Blue-White Azorius. This is the key matchup, but there are others we get to see in the feature match area this round too.
Yeah, and this is a matchup that we've seen time and time again now. We in the last round that we did together, actually, we did see this matchup, but Shota does have a more interesting build of this deck. There's a few flex slots, and one of the slots is what kind of prowess threat do you want to play in your deck? And Shota playing the full 4 copies of Slickshot Show Off, which is a card that a lot of the Izzet decks aren't playing anymore because it's bad in the mirror. It just dies to Torch to Tower, but against Azorius Omniscience, it's great because it allows you to have a threat that can potentially threaten a lethal attack out of nowhere and play around a temporary lockdown, right? You don't have to deploy it until you think you can get in for a ton of damage.
All right, let's see how this matchup plays out. Sleight of hand here for Shota.
Yann's hand has the lockdown, but note that he does have 2 Adarkar Waste. Oh, never mind. Did find a Seachrome Coast there.
Yeah, so that'll allow him to deploy.
Yeah, right.
Whirling Dragon Storm.
Oh, had another Seachrome Coast. If your opening hand was double Adarkar Waste, that would have been tough. All right. Might just run out this lockdown immediately.
The Quarry Steelcutter is enough of a threat that, particularly if you have a backup one, you can definitely do that. But nope, yeah, it's going to take a little time here.
Yeah, especially because Yann does have, finds an Omniscience to put into the graveyard, but notably has the Afara's Dispersal too, just to deal with the first token if you actually want. Or, honestly, the first hit's not too bad, right? Like, you're not getting any prowess triggers because you're casting the spell, so you're just taking 2 damage here.
And we're going to see sleight of hand number 2 here for Shota.
That's an opt, it looks like.
Yep, that's what it was. That's going to trigger the Steelcutter.
Yann just needs to find an Awakening here. Might fire off the Dispersal just to dig, or just take the damage and play it patiently. Yeah, and we've seen the Azorius Omniscience players who have been having success here, just the players who are having more success, more patience, showing more patience rather. It's like, you know what, I could fire this off, but I do have the lockdown. 2 damage is not a big deal. I'm going to hold this Dispersal because, you know, if there's a shields down moment later in the game and all of a sudden you have a Monstrous Rage and I don't have the bounce spell, that can be devastating.
Land go here from Yann. Shota's got land number 4 as well.
There's a VV in hand.
Oh, geez.
But not too much to do with it to follow that up. Now, I suppose you can go like VV, Torch to Tower my token, or VV or something along those lines, just to get a second trigger with the Quarry Steelcutter. That does also allow you to play around as far as Dispersal.
And Shota's just going to chip in here for 2.
Interesting. Okay. And
very patient from Shota.
Because you could have just cast a stock up. So I think, yeah, you're just going for the VV here and just passing, just not really intending to play any spells here. Yann going, actually, I don't want to let... We've seen what happens with the VV when you get to untap with the VV here. So Yann goes, you know what? Let's hold off on that just for a little bit here.
Of all the terrifying cards that you could see on the other side, VV's top of the list.
Right.
But as you mentioned, Shota has packed yet another one with the Slickshot Show Off.
Right. So a pair of Moment of Truths here, so can't combo off just yet, but does have the ability, if he casts both of them, to just dig 6 cards deep here. Wants to find an Awakening here. It's another lockdown. Maybe just takes the third Moment of Truth here, just because you don't really care about the lockdown or the Omniscience even.
Yeah, you can see in the graveyard there, Yann already has one Omniscience sitting there.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, he did take the moment. And are we just going to see another one here?
Yep. But given that now you don't have the bounce spell, could potentially see temporary lockdown, but it looks like just going to, you know, it's really hard to kind of go for anything when your opponent does have 3 mana up. So just saying, all right.
Oh, okay.
It's just like, it's very unlikely for Shota to just try to get in for a ton of damage and go for a monstrous rage kill here.
Right. There's a stock up plus a trigger.
Ooh, there's a slick shot show off, which is really nice. Shohei could also just be looking for another land here, just to have, you know, just be able to cast a million spells in one turn. Yeah, and does go for land slick shot show off here. And look at this. Shota also the patient player. So many times when we see players play, it's often, hey, I'm going to just make sure I can get my token no matter what.
Right.
I'm going to torch the tower my token just so I get an extra token to beat down. But Shohei being extremely patient here, because if Yann goes for the combo here, I mean, Shota at least has both the torch tower and an Into the Flood Maw to interact with a reanimated Omniscience.
And you said there is that window with just the one Omniscience where you can bounce it.
Yeah, unless Yann has the second copy of Omniscience in hand, which he had the opportunity to do, but I think at this point you're still digging. Oh, and finds it here. There is the Awakening here. I imagine he's going to take it here, but I mean, if he goes for it, does he have a good follow-up? Look at his hand, it's all lands.
How do you get so many lands after seeing all these cards?
Right, like even if you get an
and
Omniscience
he just got rid of the temporary lockdown.
Yeah, you can't even do anything. I think you're just digging here, maybe looking for at least a Meringue River Regent. That would be fantastic, because even if
that's hilarious. He puts an Abuel's Awakening in the graveyard,
right.
And Shota, I don't know if you caught that, but he got a big smile out of that. He's like, well,
okay,
now I know what you got.
I know what you're working with.
Right. Yann down to 13 life. Now Shota says, okay, you've got 5 cards, and I know one of them.
Yeah, the little prowess token that could here. Stock up. Okay, that's interesting. Probably just going to fire that off. Maybe can find a land and another 1-mana spell. That allows you to still keep up 2 pieces of interaction while making a second token and putting pressure on Yann. That's a lot of monstrous rages and talents.
Shota somehow has 7 cards in hand and just saw 5.
Did you see
spells.
That, by the way?
Was it 2 monstrous?
He just kept 2 monsters. He's just going, if you just try to like combo me off, I'm just going to play a slick shot show off and just cast a million monstrous rages to kill you.
That is awesome. I mean, now I'm looking down at the lands, right? It's like, how many of these make red?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
But he's one short from doing all of it, but
yeah.
Next turn, of course.
Okay. Blast Zone on 2 is nice because that also lets you maybe potentially play around the slick shot.
Oh,
right?
Interesting.
And it's unfortunate that it will also kill both of your Roiling Dragonstorms.
Oh, I see.
But you also get to deal with the Corey Steel Cutter.
Oh, that's really interesting. This is great stuff in the feature. 6-0, both of our players.
I think Shota is considering whether or not he should just fire off a spell here to put a second token onto the battlefield now that kind of the coast is clear. But it's also hard. It's also rough because when you have Torture Tower and Into the Flood Maw here too. Oh, he's discarding. Never mind. He actually has too many cards somehow. It's always terrifying with the math. Because think about it. Remember, there's also a VV in Shota's hand. So
right.
Those monstrous rages are basically dark rituals.
And look at that.
Right?
He actually got rid of the slick shot show off.
Yeah.
That's respect for Blast Zone over there. Yeah, and the VV is known as well, right? That got bounced or whatever it was. So.
Yeah, with the Far's Dispersal. The issue here on Yann's side is just no gas whatsoever. You could go for an Abuelos Awakening for 3, right? Then you'll get a 4/4 Omniscience, right? Maybe at least it's at least you can't torch the tower it. I mean that's maybe one thing you could do, but
that's really funny. Yann deciding to stay patient once again. Both players jockeying for position here in game 1. Uh-oh, Shota's mathing.
Shota's doing some math here. Now remember, even if Yann pops the Blast Zone, I mean, you still get to keep your prowess token here, so.
It just hits exactly 2.
Oh, is he considering making making a token here end of turn.
Just monstrous raging and then having the counters on it too?
No, I was thinking potentially even just like into the Flood Maw, your Roiling Dragon Storms, because the fish tokens come into play tapped. Then you have 2 prowess tokens, but no. But it's a pretty bold move because you have to go for the win, and if you don't, then Yann gets redraws with the Roiling Dragon Storm.
Right. Yeah, that is a button you can only push one time.
Now Shota going, all right, do I, because we know Yann's hand. Yann has nothing. Like Shota, I think if Shota goes for it, he just wins the game here. There's just no piece of interaction here. There's a blast zone for 2, but that just kills the Corey Steel Cutter.
That's almost certainly what Shota was looking at, right? I want to see your graveyard to see how much interaction you actually threw away.
Yeah, but of course Shota does have to respect the fact that Yann could still have as far as dispersal in hand.
Yes.
And if you kind of go all in here and they have the dispersal, it could be a potential disaster.
Yeah, and Shota, he has not presented anything that must be dispersal yet, right? It is very plausible that Yann has one.
This is wild. I mean, Shota is just not cast anything.
Just doing nothing. Especially compared to how this matchup plays out, or this deck plays normally, where they're just constantly chewing through mana and cards and getting triggers and just doing all the things. Wow, another land go.
Is now the time. 8 life
wow,
is very
both
low.
Players land go.
Look at this.
Oh, and there's the slick shot show off, though. As we mentioned before, he did discard one to hand size a couple of turns ago.
Right. I think he's just going to attack for 2 again. You could potentially, I mean, you're not going to cast the slick shot show off, but you can kind of put it off on the side here.
So what does Yann need to see to break it open here?
I mean, he just needs to find a card draw spell here to try to follow up the, Abuelo's Awakening if he can get something going. But Yann also playing it super patiently, knowing that, look, if I just get an Omniscience in play right now, it doesn't do anything.
Right.
So I'm going to wait until I can actually find a Meringue River region just to get something in play. Because if he finds a dragon here and just casts it, you're still dealing with a 5/6, and you get to just hard cast those Rolling Dragon Storms over again, even if Shota does have the removal spell here.
Are you surprised that Yann hasn't used one of the temporary lockdowns just to say, well, you can't just sit here and hit me for 2 until I'm dead?
Yeah, the issue with that is just, I think
it's the Dragon Storms or what?
Yeah, I think it's because you also lose the Dragon Storms. But then, of course, if you draw like a Scroll Shift or something, that would be very nice.
But if you draw a Regent, you're kind of sad.
Yeah, I guess Yann just going, you know what, 2 damage is not a big deal. You don't have direct damage in your deck, but this is a slightly different build. There are 6 haste creatures in this deck. Not only the Steel Cutters, but you do have 4 Slick Shot Show-Offs and 2 copies of Monastery Swift Spear.
All right, it looks like he may have had enough, and there it is, the first temporary lockdown.
But remember, Shota does have Into the Flood Maw here, so he can fire that off. It's a little bit rough, though, because you get
all those cards?
Yeah.
You just really can't.
Right.
That's funny.
Is it time now? I mean, you have literally no pressure. There is Vivi. Can you just play 6 spells?
I mean, we said there's no reach, but this is a form of reach.
Look at this.
He easily can, right?
He can easily play 6 spells here and deal 6 damage to Yann. There's no life gain.
Right.
And now we
Yann let his life total get too low?
I mean, it looks like it. Shota just went for a he's comboing off Yann right now with the Vivi here.
This is crazy.
Vivi is now at 4 power, has a ton of mana, and I mean, there's just nothing Yann can do here. Countering the spells don't even matter. All Yann Shota wants to do is just burn out Yann with all of his spells.
Just put them on the stack. It's hilarious.
Oh, man. This is crazy. Yeah. Okay, now he's generating mana and just casting things. You can Monstrous Rage or Vivi again. You can cast all those spells with Into the Flood Maw. You can play it, trigger on the stack, or while it's on the stack, play another Into the Flood Maw, and then play all the other burn spells.
That's exactly what he's doing. Monstrous Rage, Monstrous Rage.
Oh my
Torch
gosh.
the tower. Are you serious,
That's
Shota?
ridiculous.
Is this real, Shota?
It's a grape shot for 6. It's a combo deck.
That is incredible.
There you go. He just stormed out there. Oh my
All
gosh.
he did was ride that monk to victory.
Yeah, he did 14 damage with that 2/2 monk, and then played a Vivi and 6 spells. I'm not gonna lie to you, Marshall. I didn't see that line. That's not what I thought the game was. I didn't think that's where the game was going to go.
Only in Shota's hand is this a Storm combo deck somehow.
Also, on the flip side, Yann's hand was just
How did
incredibly
he
bad.
miss so badly? He
Right.
flooded really hard.
He just dug so many cards deep and just couldn't find one dragon to draw the cards that he needed.
I wonder if he should have done the temporary lockdown sooner. You know,
Right.
because we were saying how he doesn't have reach in the sense that, like, Shota didn't have access to whatever burst lightning or something like that. But he did find the one way that he can do just that.
Yann's hand.
But if he was at 8,
right,
if he was at 10, maybe it's out of reach.
is he just attacking? Okay. Yann's hand is actually just kind of perfect here. If he doesn't die next turn, he just has the full-on combo here, right? He can even play a Voice of Victory to make it so that Shota can't play a counterspell here. So Shota actually just has to kind of. I think Yann can potentially just win here very quickly on turn 4.
You see the sleight of hand here, one trigger
You have a
on
bounce
the
spell.
show off. Another
Yeah.
one, but one of them gets
This is just
triggered,
4
so it's
damage.
4 total.
This is when you. This is kind of the god draw here from the Azorius deck, right? You're like, turn 2, Roiling Dragonstorm, discard Omniscience. Turn 3, play a creature. You can't play anything on my turn. Turn 4, Abuela's Awakening. He has the ability to cast Moment of Truth and Meringue River Region out of his hand.
Wow.
Oh, and he drew the second region. It's over. It's just
he drew
over.
the second region already?
Turn 4 kill.
This is a turn 4 combo kill from Yann?
I mean, he literally has it all. He can draw his entire deck here. With
What
double
is
region.
happening here? This is wild.
Well, that's playing it on easy mode. Oh, Shota wants him to
Maybe
show
get
the
a little info.
It's like, did you keep the mill card in? Is the question, I think.
So I will bounce.
Okay, sure. I think Shota just wants to see most of Yann's sideboard plan.
Okay.
I think that there is importance there as well, right? He knows he's dead.
Right.
But it's just like, what did you bring in? And Yann has to be careful in terms of like what he chooses to put into his graveyard. Because he already has the game won. So he's just going to put all the Abuela's Awakenings and maybe some of the more obvious cards in.
The stuff that you know would be there.
Exactly. And another thing is, you know, there is the mill kill that a lot of these decks have, but maybe after sideboard you don't have it anymore. So it's just, you just have to consider all the possibilities. But I think that was that a Founding the Third Path?
I didn't see
There it is.
Yep, that is.
Yeah.
And then mill you out.
And Shota's like, okay, well, I don't want to show you my deck.
Right,
so
I will
I'm gonna-
concede.
I will
Thank you.
concede now.
Wow, what a matchup. This is awesome. These guys are 6-0. They're playing the 2 most popular decks in the room, and they have showed us the goods this round.
Yeah.
Papa's the clock.
All right, Shota with.
You can start. Table Alpha starting game.
Monastery Swift Spear.
All right, the Swift Spear here. Nice
Perfect
little-
start.
Yeah, into the Corey Steel Cutter, and then Shota just wants to find like an opt or a sleight of hand just to be able to make that token on turn 3. Oh, there is the opt.
Wow, opt
All
off
right.
the top. You asked for it.
So this is going to be a Steel Cutter here. I imagine you play the Steel Cutter here. I don't know. I guess maybe you're concerned about Spell Pierce. There's also the possibility of a temporary lockdown, but I don't. You can always just keep up into the follow-up. But yeah, all right, Shota playing it patient here once again.
And just passes.
Yeah,
Wow.
not even playing the opt here.
Jeez. Are we going to see the Swift Spear hit for like 18?
No, I think the thing was he was concerned he might not have two plays here. Yann top deck,
And
I
he
think the spell
actually
pierce.
drew it. Shota's like, yeah, I knew you had it.
You're right. Okay, well,
That's hilarious.
it's Swift Spear or bust at this point.
So 15.
Yeah, 3 damage there.
Cards in there.
Cards in hand 4, says Shota.
And Yann has a lockdown, has a Clarion Conqueror. Might just play stock up here just to dig. Okay, just play the Conqueror instead. Clarion Conqueror, another good, especially because Shota has graveyard hate cards in his sideboard, and Clarion Conqueror shuts off artifact abilities. So if you have Ghost Vacuums, it turns them off. Also, it just trades with the Slick Shot Show Off.
Yeah.
Right? It's just something you can play.
Shota with land number 4, surveying the scene. You can see his hand is all spells. He's going to go with the slick shot show off here.
Is he just going to... Okay, opt. This is a good amount of damage. There's a monstrous rage there too. Can't imagine that it's going to be lethal if Yann blocks. This is what, 5 damage coming in. Monstrous rage is another 3. That's 8, and then 10, 11. That would be 11 damage. Soul Guide Lantern is the find here, but there is that Clarion Conqueror in play.
Yeah, you see the end of the Flood Maw as well. It's a big turn here for Shota.
I mean, I suppose you can attack with both. Is he just going to bounce
Yeah,
it?
he is.
Ooh.
So into the Flood Maw, that's 2 triggers on each of these cards.
Yeah, now Yann's going to slam that temporary lockdown.
That is going to
Yeah.
hit the table with the quickness.
Right. Now,
It's down to
if
7.
Shota can top deck another Slick Shot after, right, and then play Monstrous Rage, that's 6 damage.
Yeah.
And has a Soul Guide Lantern. So if he just top decks a Slick Shot here, that would potentially be the game if Yann doesn't have a bounce spell. Into the Flood Maw off the top would also work. The land does
not a
not
show
get it
off.
done. I
You
wonder-
see the temporary lockdown holding down both of those 2 threats. Down to 7 is Yann.
I think Shota might cycle this, or will he just keep it in play? Okay, just we've seen him be very patient, but yeah, just looking for a threat here.
He's not trying to show off,
I
but
think that might have been a show off. No, oh no, Spire Bluff Canal. What is Yann working with here? Possibly a Dragon Storm into a Clarion Conqueror just to have a good blocker against haste targets.
there's Omniscience in the yard.
Yep. Doesn't have the Abuela's Awakening just yet, but plays out the Conqueror as well.
And it is a dragon.
So Slick Shot doesn't get it done here.
Here's
Needs
opt.
to find something.
There's some hope. Uh-oh. Bottom.
Okay. Stock up would also be nice. That's a Corey Steel Cutter.
Sure, that's a threat.
Okay. Now, noting that Shota already casts a spell for the turn, so if he plays the Corey Steel Cutter here, you won't get a token. But choosing to have it in play anyways here. Probably want to play the Spire Bluff Canal. Just extra mana could be useful, especially if you draw a Storm Chaser's Talent.
He's going to keep it in hand past the turn back.
Okay.
Two cards left.
Nice little interaction that may come up, maybe not here, is Clarion Conqueror's a dragon. That does let you pick up the Orling Dragonstorm.
Yeah, he already did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, last turn. Wow, here we go. How about a Meringue River Regent full price?
I mean, 5/6. How do you attack through a 5/6?
I mean, it's a 6/7 and a 3/3, right? Like, you're not getting through that. That's just toughness, right? Good
I mean,
old fashioned.
it's just so much damage, and then you can play out the Dragonstorm here if you find an Awakening. He also found a stock up, so I mean, this is once again we are seeing the Azorius deck just play out like a control deck
It
here.
does feel like a more Azorius deck than
Right,
the combo
exactly.
version. That's the Blast Zone again.
Yeah, maybe cast a stock up, look for a Dispersal, right, just to make sure.
Get your insurance plan in place. Yeah, Shota says you got it.
Yeah, Shota had that kind of one-turn window, I want to say.
It does feel like that.
If he could have found a Slick Shot show off or an
There's a
Instant Flood Maw.
Dispersal too. He did find
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, so I mean,
This feels like it's fallen away from Shota pretty sharply at this point.
right. It's
I mean, is he just going to get attacked in the air?
right.
It's a 2-turn clock.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, Yann can start attacking with the dragons here. Of course, he's going to try to balance this as much as he can. Being at 7 life, even one haste creature can kill you out of nowhere. So you do definitely have to be mindful of that. Could see the Clarion Conqueror attacking, maybe just keeping back the Regent.
Interestingly, he did not keep the Afaris Dispersal there.
Okay.
He kept
Oh, and a
Voice
land.
of Victory and Abuelo's Awakening.
Yeah, and another land here for Shota. So I think this is basically just over here. Shota needed to find some kind of card draw effect, a stock up, Storm Chaser's Talent to get something out of the graveyard.
There was a dispersal anyway.
Yeah.
Oh boy, surveilled at the top, and this is going to be bad news for Shota. Looks like he is cruising towards his first loss of the tournament. So that's the good news for him. He hasn't even lost yet.
Right, and now going for the combo here. Oh, and making a 2-2. Why not?
Beatdowns.
But remember, with the Voice of Victory in play, Shota cannot cast any spells here. So the coast is clear here for Yann. Play the stock up, find another river regent, draw your deck. There it is.
And there's the regent right there.
It just has both.
And he's going to show him both of the pieces. And that is going to be the match going to Yann Alexandre Chouinard. Really nice pickup there for him against one of the toughest opponents that you could be paired up against. So really nice work for him. You can see he's looking at him like, I think I got you.
Yeah. I mean, it was so close. If you think about some of the lines that Shota had to take because of his hand, the way that his hand looked, he was just like, look, if the game goes a little bit longer, it's going to be tough. He had that into the Floodmaw, right? He could have maybe held it, right? If he held it and then maybe had it for the temporary lockdown, that could have been something. But instead, he's like, I'm going to try to go for maximum damage here. I'm going to bounce your Conqueror as a tempo play, get him for as much damage, even if you have a lockdown. If I still top deck a prowess creature or another into the Floodmaw, or I cantrip into something like that, I still have a shot. And Shota was just putting himself in a position where he has so many live draws, but he just wasn't able to find it.
That's right, really close. And you know, one tiny little difference there on that turn could have been the difference, but as it turns out, Yann is the victor. All right, we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, greatness at any cost. We'll see you on the other side. And welcome back to coverage here at Pro Tour Final Fantasy. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe. I'm with Paul Cheon, and we're covering Standard here at MagicCon. Take a look at that. So many Magic enthusiasts out there. It is a beautiful... Whoa! He is handling that sword way too easily. That is impressive. And yes, you can get your photo taken with the Buster Sword and all types of cool activities out there. We're going to be bringing you more of that throughout the course of the weekend as well. But for now, we're focused on this Pro Tour here. And this is Standard. Our players in the feature match area are 5-1. They're right on that precipice of an excellent day one versus a I did pretty good, right? If you lose this one and the next one, it's like, yeah, I'm good. I made a day two. I got a decent record. If you win out, you're way ahead of the curve.
Absolutely. And wow, what a match here.
Look at
When
this.
is the last time Bob's played a Pro Tour? I can't even imagine. That is Hall of Famer Bob Maher, Dark Confidant himself. He won an invitational tournament. He got to put his face on a Magic card. Now you have to be the world champion, but back then it was the invitational. And here we are,
This is-
5-1.
Yeah, that's František Vitula from Czech Republic, and they are facing off in the matchup of the tournament so far. This is It Prowess versus Azorius Omniscience.
Yeah, and I will note that Vitula's version of this list is a far more controlling version. It's got 2 copies of Roaring Furnace, only 2 copies of Monstrous Rage, and none of the haste creatures.
Really?
No Swift Spears, no Slick Shots. It's playing kind of almost more of a mid-range game. It's much slower. I think generally that probably sets himself up well for the mirror, but it might be a little bit worse for the Omniscience matchup.
Bob may be happy to see that there isn't that quite as much explosive potential.
Right. Although anytime your opponent plays a turn 2 Corey Steelcutter, it doesn't really matter what the rest of your deck is.
It is cool having Bob in the feature here. You saw in the graphic, started playing Magic, 1993. Oof. Which,
I
by
thought
the
I'd
way,
been playing for a while.
No kidding, which is the same time, by the way, that Planes was made.
Yeah. Wow, it's been, I mean, I feel like I've been playing for a while. I've been playing this game for about 26 years. He's got me beat by like 6 years.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't seen him in a while. It was a Mythic Championship in 2019 the last time we saw him out at this
so
level.
it has been 6 years now.
But
Oh, wow.
he just rolled in here, 3-0'd the draft. It's just like, when you're good, you're good.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, hits the Omniscience here. It's a May, by the way.
If you just really want to counter.
Right, so I don't know why you would want the Omniscience in your hand. I imagine you want to keep it there and have a 1/4, especially against a cutter. Maybe Bob has a Roiling Dragonstorm in hand and just wants to discard the Omniscience. That
Once fodder.
yeah, that would make sense, I suppose.
It would turn it into more of a card draw spell if that were the
Right.
case.
I would keep it in the graveyard in most instances. What if the Dragonstorm gets countered, for example?
Right.
You wanna go to this one?
No, it's okay. No.
I imagine Vitula has a follow-up land here. That would be very nice here. Just, oh, did he pass?
I don't know.
I thought he did. Kind of.
Oh, you're right.
He did. Ooh.
Wow.
The Undertrap Trainer does not get you a land.
Is this going to be the Roiling Dragonstorm? Yeah, there it
Okay.
is.
Yeah.
And the coast is clear, so plan acquired here for Bob.
I imagine now you're going to discard the Omniscience. If he doesn't, at this point, I just don't even know what to say.
Well, let's just say if he didn't hear, he's on a different level.
Yeah.
I don't know which one at that point, but but he did. So
Right.
Omniscience is in the yard. Land drop acquired.
It looks like there is it might be a second Omniscience here.
Bob's at a cool 20 life,
Yeah.
facing really no pressure at this point.
Right. Now, does Frank have a red spell here? Monstrous Rage, Torch to Tower. Those would be nice here just to fire off, just to get that token here from the Steel Cutter. Yeah, Monstrous Rage.
František with the Monstrous Rage.
Okay, this is a good amount of damage coming in. Thundertrap Trainer will be a 4/3 this turn. All Bob can have is a Spell Pierce or Nefara's Dispersal as interaction.
But either way,
Yeah. I suppose just attack with both.
Come it.
all right, František into
So
the
what
red
are the
zone.
sizes? This is
So
5.
this is 1, 2, 3, 4 power.
Okay.
In a 2/2.
This is 2, 2.
And that tramples, right?
The tramples. The tramples also.
Oh, okay.
For what it's worth,
Right.
but it is only 2
So
power,
take-
so
4?
he gets to keep the Archaeologist this way. Soaks up 4 damage, though, down to 16.
A lockdown here would be really nice. And Vitula not having that third land drop is also really big. And Bob actually does have the temporary lockdown here, and he can just wipe the entire board.
That's like actually every permanent, right?
Right.
Besides the land?
Not only that, it has the spell pierce too, in case Vitula does have into the flood mine. If Vitula has not played a third land, so if he just tries to go for it, Bob could just be able to counter it with the spell pierce.
Yeah. František behind on a lot of mana at this point, having missed 2 land drops now. This deck can operate on relatively small amounts of mana, but it really does want to get those multi-spell turns going, and you do need at least 3 to really kind of start to do those.
The issue is, I mean, this deck plays 21 lands only, right? It plays 21 lands, and it kind of relies on the 1-mana cantrip effects to help you find the lands that you need. Now, when I look at Vitula's list, it's possible that he should consider going up to 22 lands, given that he is playing a much slower version of the deck. I actually haven't checked his list, but you know, with 21 lands and the 8 1-mana spells, usually you can get to land number 3. But especially when you're playing a deck like a version that has the VV in it, oftentimes you want to play VV on 4 with an extra spell. So yeah, it is very, very important to continue hitting your land drops.
Right as you say that, Paul, Bob does exactly that. Land number 5. All František had on his turn was a Quarry Steel Cutter, no land drop. Pass the turn back. Bob said land go.
Still can't find a land here. Just a bunch of interaction.
And where's the ops and the, you know?
Right, they're hiding somewhere because he does play 4 of each.
It's like you got to find lands or that, and somehow he's finding all the other stuff.
End of your turn.
And František just passed the turn back.
Ooh, drawing 3, discarding 1 here with the meringue. All right. Yeah, I mean, this is just. It's just.
You just can't.
It's just so tough.
Much
Right.
Time. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, Vitula here, given that he played nothing, is probably just hoping that, you know, he's going to go for an Into the Flood Maw here on the lockdown and hope that maybe gets something done here. But Bob's got the spell pierce.
And it's looking so good.
Yeah.
Just because František has not been able to find a land. And it counters most everything.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, yeah, it's basically just counter anything.
Still done.
Now, can Bob just find an Awakening here and just start comboing off because he even has Spell Pierce backup? Did draw a bunch of cards. Oh, looks like he's going for something here. Oh, stock up.
Stock.
You think Bob's having fun with these?
Oh yes.
You can see so many cards with this deck.
Right, he's just like, oh, I don't have to play something mid-range here. There's just a combo deck, yeah. And you know, all the old schoolers, they all love the draft. So it's like, I'm going to show up.
Yes.
Use my Hall of Fame invite. Do a draft. If it goes well, I'll play this combo deck, and we'll see what happens.
I mean, this is exactly
Impending.
what Magic was. Oh, he's going to tap out
Oh,
here?
so he's tapped out. Now Bob is at 16 life,
Yes.
so it's going to be pretty tough to just get a win. Now, you do have a Quarry Steel Cutter. Let's say you bounce the lockdown. You get a second cutter in play. And then let's say you have a Torch to Tower to kill the fish. Then you get the tokens end of turn. So that would be 2 tokens. And then let's say you untap and play like a Monstrous Rage, maybe a cantrip spell, maybe draw a land for another one. Bob did leave himself very vulnerable. I don't know about that Overlord.
There's an Archaeologist there, though.
There is an Archaeologist,
I mean, that'll soak up a little damage.
But if what I mean is Vitula can play 2 spells here.
Yeah.
Including Into the Flood Maw. That's 2 tokens already. Because it triggers on either turn. If you
Okay,
play
there it
2
is.
spells.
He's starting that sequence here, Paul. Is the door open enough?
I mean, he gave him a chance when he basically had this locked up. Does he have a Torch to Tower here? That would be huge. He can also find it with the Thundertrap Trainer.
Right.
Children so much with this result.
Wow, some hope here for František, who's going, all right, here's what I'm going to do. Make an Otter.
Right. So that's 1 spell cast. Oh, and he misses. Goodness.
He just bricked. So, but does he have an instant speed red spell?
That would be big.
Anything. Oh, he's going to let the
Yeah.
Archaeologist trigger go.
Right. Take the dispersal, sure. Or scroll.
I mean, is the counter, like how close is this going to be?
Yeah, I don't.
Because it is one less damage.
It just completely depends on what Vitula has in hand. If one of the cards, if it's a burn spell, and then it's, you know, a monstrous rage and maybe another bounce effect or something, that could be enough here. I mean, we're looking at, if Vitula has a spell here, we're looking at 3 prowess creatures at the minimum attacking. And if you can trigger the Steel Cutters next turn as well, I mean, that's got to be very close to lethal. It would be crazy if Vitula wins this.
It would be absurd off of 2 mana. What is happening here?
Discarding, I believe.
For what?
Just has a million cards in hand.
Oh, he said go to discard. That means that František doesn't have another spell.
Oh, okay.
So
all right.
No
so
instant speed red.
Disaster averted here.
Yeah,
wow.
He's good now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And
now it's
back
going to be
over.
much more difficult.
Right.
You
it's
only have the 1 token,
just
so
one threat,
yeah. Okay.
So that's going to be a sigh of relief there for Maher.
What even is in his hand?
Yeah, I don't know.
Right, he's been stuck on 2 lands.
Right.
Played the bounce spell, but why? I guess Vitula was playing into, I hope I draw a red spell off my
Oh,
trainer.
sure.
Right? Because he's so behind here.
Perfectly
I
reasonable.
think that's just like playing to his outs there.
Yeah.
Bob gave him that 1 window, and now if you can't close the deal, it's probably over.
1-1 and 1-2.
So now Vitula gets to say no justice.
Yeah.
Gets to say that to his friends.
It's just like, you wouldn't believe it, guys. I played perfectly,
Yes.
but I didn't get there.
Against a Hall of Famer. Couldn't quite get over the finish line. Okay, so now the advantage bar, as it were, swings violently back to Bob's
Right,
favor.
absolutely. I mean, you can, again, you can just replay the lockdown here, and Bob took the scroll shift, so if Vitula goes for a bounce spell now, as long as Bob keeps up the 3 mana, can just scroll shift the lockdown and just keep everything wiped away.
Does he still have the Spell Pierce hanging around somewhere too?
He does. Now here, I probably would have left an island untapped, or tapped an island instead of the Flood Farm Verge, just to make sure you have an extra white source.
Right.
Man step.
And that's the turn there for Maher, so he's just going to keep ticking down the Overlord.
Yeah. Yeah, and at this point, it's just, you can Spell Pierce, you can Scroll Shift.
I mean, this is ridiculous from Vitula. I want to know what's in his hand, but like, how crazy is it that he doesn't have a 3rd land at this
Right.
point in the game?
Right.
Or
Scroll shift.
cantrips to help him find. I mean, what is his hand?
It must be 2 stock ups, 2 VVs.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you say, what was his other win con that you said?
He's got VVs, the Steel Cutters, Storm Chaser's talents, but not playing any of the like Monastery Swift Spears.
Roaring Furnace is what I was thinking of.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's just a nice source of card advantage.
Yeah.
Oh, and there is the Awakening. So now Bob can just go for the actual kill. Although, since might as well attack first, find more, dig deeper, right? It's not like you're going to be able to attack for more damage. And Bob should basically just have this locked up at this point.
Yeah, I mean, this is getting comical.
Name Dragon, most likely.
Lane Warrior.
Warrior.
As in, cowards can't block.
Should have named Wizard. I think that's what Dark Confidant is.
Yeah. And now we're going to get Omniscience onto the battlefield thanks to Abuela's Awakening.
And then I think he's got another one in hand here. Just fire that off so that you're totally safe. Also has a scroll shift to save it if he needs, so just has basically everything. Oh, it doesn't look like he has a second copy of Omniscience here. But yeah, the scroll shift plus the Spell Pierce should be good enough here. And at this point, you can just kind of do the loop here.
Dragon Storm.
So select your mouse.
It's going to work.
Yeah.
He's going to play into the Floodmaw on the Omniscience.
Yep, and then
That's
Bob
with-
has his choice of Spell Pierce or Scroll Shift. Don't have to tap any mana. Don't have to tap mana.
I like it. I like it.
Just showing the hand because it's game over.
Well, you did call it though, Paul.
Right.
2 VVs, 2 stock ups to start things off with.
Yeah.
Wow.
Had
what
all
a
the 3
weird
drops.
game.
That was a very, very odd game. And, man, it would have been nuts if Vitula was able to find the win there. And he did have a little bit of a chance.
Startup being 2.
Okay, game number 2 coming in here after a bizarre game 1.
Yeah. And
Who lands the entire game, no cantrips at some point? Like, what happened there? At any rate, a good start here for František. He's on 6 cards, but at least he had the 1 drop this time.
yeah, the turn 1 talent just to put some pressure here. We saw in Shota Yasooka's match, just need 1 creature. Get your opponent low enough, sleight of hand. Can you find a land here? I hope Vitula has a second land, just so we have a decent game. Bob's considering the Spell Pierce here. Okay. Does have a land.
That's a Shivan Reef.
Yep.
What is his follow-up?
Oh,
Another one.
okay. This is an attack for 3 with 2 prowess creatures in play. Good amount of pressure. Bob gonna need to lean on cards like Ifara's Dispersal or, of course, Temporary Lockdown.
Yeah, being on the draw here. No white mana yet. He does have a lockdown in hand, and I think he just drew another for the turn.
Yeah, as long
Does he
as-
have white mana into white mana all untapped is a question.
Yeah, I
guess.
believe there was a Plains and a Flood Farm Verge.
You're right. Yep.
Yeah.
He's going to play the Verge here in the Plains. Well, let's just hold our breath, says Bob.
Yeah, if you're on
Oh,
Vitula's,
never mind. He goes right to combat. That's
wow,
good news.
and only 2 damage,
Right.
And no 3rd land.
Wow.
Okay.
František cannot buy one here.
Right. Bob does have 2 lockdowns, so if one of them gets countered, he can maybe run this one out, run it into a Spell Pierce if Vitula has one, and then play the next one on the following turn. Yep, this is a Spell Pierce here.
Good.
And how much damage can you get in there, František? Just to 2. Is it just a hand of all VVs and stock-ups again? I imagine, okay, playing it a little patiently this time, maybe just going for the River Regent. He also has a No More Lies in hand, if you just wanted to perhaps counter a Corey Steelheart. Okay, Vitula did find land number 3 here.
Finally, this will be the first time this match.
Right?
We've actually
Yeah.
seen that happen.
Attack for 2, okay. Wait, is this a... Okay, there is the VV. No More Lies. So now the coast is clear for the lockdown.
It is.
Vitula is tapped out.
This is going to be a huge setback for Vitula, but you got to feel for him here. These land drop misses have really hurt. In game 1, it was devastating, but here it's forced his hand.
Now Bob might miss a land drop here. Doesn't have a land in hand. The super greedy line would be to run out Roiling Dragonstorm and try to hit land number 5 here, but going for the lockdown here, keeping the life total safe, still have access to the Ifara's Dispersal, although Vitula's deck doesn't really have any haste creatures.
Cards, please. 4.
4 cards left here for Bob.
I see another VV, but going for the stock up here, that does run into a potential Spell Pierce, but Bob does not have that.
Stock up, a very impressive card.
Yeah,
Seen heavy play since its printing, and
I mean, it's one of the
can see
best.
why.
It's one of the best card draw spells we've had in a very long time.
you prefer divination though, right? Like
The
living
combat
life on the
tutorial,
edge.
Marshall.
Oh yeah, right. You want
Combat
the counter.
tutorial.
You want the counter. Yeah, I think stock up sees play in older formats as well. It's just so good at finding you what you need.
Absolutely. All right, time to start digging here if you're Bob.
Coil and catch.
Coil and catch it
All right.
is.
That digs you the deepest and 2 lands, so that's great here if you're Bob. Probably, I think it might have been 3 lands, and if that's the case, probably just throw away the Seachrome Coast as it comes into play tapped. Or it looks like
Darker Waste, I think.
Waste? Okay.
And then, of course, Coil and Catch does get shuffled back in. Only to be drawn later.
And then plays the Seachrome Coast instead. Okay.
I'm not going to do anything anyway.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is if Vitula goes Corey Steelcutter into spell, then if you discarded the Seachrome Coast and played the island instead, you could have bounced the token and not...
Oh, he actually has a dispersal?
Yeah, he does.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah.
and it's happening.
And that is exactly what's happening. That sleight of hand over on the side there.
Yep. Maybe the last land wasn't an island. It might have been a plains. 2 damage.
9.
Well, you could have kept the wastes and just paid the life if you really needed it, right? The Dark Our Wastes, I mean.
Right, of course. No, it was an island. So
And-
yeah,
and it was-
I think I would have just pitched the coast there. You can have 1 pain land and 4 lands that tap for blue and white mana.
And just not take damage.
Yeah. But Bob's still firmly ahead, at least in terms of cards, but Steelcutter does an excellent job against removal. Oh,
Finally, an Omniscience in the graveyard
nice
now for
in the
Bob.
yard. In the yard. Now it needs to find the other part of the combo. Oh, end of turn. Okay.
Into the Flood Mob.
All right, this is big. Does Bob have some kind of counter? He does. That is a No More Lies there.
Is this the
Might
time?
be interested in firing it off here because this could potentially be a lethal
I don't think
swing.
the
So,
resolves. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, he recognizes the inflection point there.
right,
He's already under some pressure, but that would have been a lot more.
absolutely.
2 more prowess creatures.
And still has a Get Lost and Afara's Dispersal in hand here in case things get too out of hand. There's the River Regent too. I mean, you could also play that, which would allow you to bounce the token.
And we're going to see the dispersal here, it looks like.
Yep. Maybe try and dig for the Awakening.
Yeah.
All right.
Surveil 2.
Or more stock ups or whatever.
Oh, there's
there's
the
the
Awakening.
Awakening.
Okay. 'Cause
Wow.
now you can go Awakening and play the River Regent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, there's a Vivi.
Yep.
And I mean, even, and there's only an island up, so you can't. Spell Pierce doesn't even counter you.
No, you're
So-
good. You're
so
good.
the
Green
only
light.
the only thing Vitula can have is Into the Flood Maw, right? But you still get a River Regent down. You
Yes.
can flounce the Vivi and whatever else you need. So,
And have a huge blocker.
right.
So here we go. As well as Awakening, is this Bob Maher finishing off the match here? It's definitely a step in that direction. These players are vying for a 6-1 record. With just 1 more round to play today, it's puts you in a very good position, particularly with the win in the last round. But even if you finish the day at 6-2, you're looking good.
Yeah, no, this is a big match for both sides.
You know, shortcut-wise for these players, you know, if you do 6-2 on both days, you're right in the mix for top 8.
Ooh, and Bob going for the River Regent here. Could have played the Dragons from...
Oh, wow. And that is going to do it. Bob Maher picks up the victory. Waltz is in here, Mr. Hall of Fame, 3-0's the draft. And now he's just got the 1 loss in standard with 1 more round to go. And what a pleasure to see him play. It's
Right.
just fun.
Yeah, no, it's great just to see the old faces here just come back and still prove that they still have a little bit left in the tank here. So it's always just nice to see. And man, I will say, the Omniscience decks so far have been completely dominating the Is It Prowess decks.
That looks like where you wanted to be this weekend for sure, especially given how the metagame has played out. Really great stuff from the feature match area. We've still got one more round to bring you, but first, we're going to take a little break. We'll be back with more right after this.